What is going on, guys? TKD 1, 2, 3 review, and talking about the brand new details that came out revolving the Atari box. Now, the Atari box is a thing that we discussed a few months ago on the channel. I'll link that video down below in the description. But going on, basically just to kind of summarize the Atari box here, and it is the company Atari coming back into the fold in the console space, right? They want to come out with a new console. They want to compete with the likes of Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, all those good stuff. And they showed off some images a few months ago and it looked pretty cool, looked promising, you know what I'm saying? But here we got some details regarding it, and even more details that were out a few weeks ago as well, that really do highlight some interesting things about this Atari box and some interesting, I think, issues they will run into with this box. And now this article, of course, comes to us from IGN, and they have been detailing what Atari has revealed revolving around the Atari box. And they have revealed things like the pricing information, a release date window, and stuff like that, and the upcoming crowdfunding campaign that will be unveiling and launching in a few weeks' time. And the first bit of news here is that the Atari box will reportedly launch in late spring 2018, right? So that's coming up in a few months' time. That is under a year. They plan to drop this console and everything, and it will cost around $250 to $300. Now, giving that little range of pricing, that to me is telling that they're either going to do a multi-tier Atari box release, where there's going to be maybe some that have different specs, different, hard drive sizes and everything, or maybe this could be some sort of bundle that they are going to be doing for the Atari box as well. Like maybe the base just Atari box costs $250, but if you want to bundle with a game or whatever, or bundle with another controller or whatever they want to do, that will be the price range of $300, right? So that kind of makes sense here. But going off of the pricing, I feel that that's an okay price, honestly, for this type of console here, and we will go into a little bit more about what this console is meant to do. But just from a overall standpoint, just from a how much someone's willing to pay for a console, I feel like $250 to $300 is a great price overall. It's not too expensive, but also it's not so cheap that maybe people might be deterred from buying it. I'm saying it's rare to do that, but just for argument's sake. But overall, I feel that that's pretty nice, pretty nice skew in the pricing as well, and also that is around the same range as the PS4 and the Xbox One. But then also you can run into issues of, well, if I'm going to spend $300 on a console, why not just get an Xbox One or PS4? But then also you can go into the marketing of this whole thing, and it's like, who really is going to buy an Atari box that doesn't already have a modern gen console or a PC or something that's really into gaming, you know what I'm saying? But going on, let's talk about the kind of different things about this Atari box. Atari themselves says that it will be a Linux based console that, quote, is a full PC experience for the TV, bringing you streaming, applications, social, browsing, music, and more, right? And so that sounds all fine and dandy, but kind of the overall issue that I feel they will face here is that what other device doesn't do these things? Like, we have streaming boxes that do these things, we have like all these things that also do these things very well, and have no issue with them doing it. And I guess if there's a way that they can kind of advertise this thing and really show off this thing that does it different than the other people, then alright. But I feel just like at this point, on the black and white, just on the page writing kind of view of it, it just doesn't seem like this will do enough to really shake up the industry, really just give people a reason to buy this console. Of course, there is the project that we'll talk about later about how they're gonna have their retro Atari games, and that's a whole different type of thing. But also the way they kind of describe this console, it does remind me of the Steam machines from a few years ago. If you guys remember those things, they were supposed to be this brand new SKU of products you can buy, where it would hook up to your PC gaming console, or even just be by itself, and you could play Steam games, everything. And it was like if the company Steam was gonna release a console, this is what it was gonna be, right? And they had all these manufacturers, every single one had different specs and everything. It was very complicated, whatever. And that one flopped, obviously. You can see here, here we don't hear at all about the Steam machines, whatever. So in a way, it does sound like this is gonna be kind of in that same range of it. And if history tells a lot, then it would tell us that this might not work, just based off of what they're saying here. And then they move on to the actual specs of the Atari box. It will be powered by a custom AMD processor that I feel like a lot of people and a lot of different consoles and companies really just use AMD in a way. Who knows why, really? I think maybe it's because AMD tends to run a little bit cheaper, I guess, for the power that you get, maybe. But I know the PS4 runs off AMD processors, and I think the Xbox does as well, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I know the PS4 does. And so it definitely makes sense that they choose AMD as well. And it will also support preloaded retro Atari games, as well as, quote, current titles from a range range of studios. Now, you know, the way they frame this, man, I don't know, guys. I don't know what they mean by, you know, current titles from range. Like that can mean a lot of things. Okay, I could probably be reading too much into this. I could be, you know, reading way too much into the kind of, you know, slant that like this might flop, whatever. But you know, that in a way, that kind of phrasing just doesn't really sound that good. I feel like it'd be a lot more better if they just had a couple of third-party devs, whatever, or they had just any other studio just come out and say, hey, listen, our, you know, next game over here is coming to the Ataribox, and hopefully we will see maybe some of that at E3, which will really shake things up here. Because, you know, if this Ataribox has a very, very, you know, good E3 kind of showing and presence, and they have a lot of, you know, just people mentioning them in the conferences, whatever, then I feel like that would be a good thing for the Ataribox, obviously. But you know, just the way they kind of framed that and the way they kind of worded it is like a little bit kind of concerning. But you know, who knows, maybe it'll turn out fine. Maybe they will get some, you know, relatively new you know, games and titles to their console. And then they went on to discuss their crowdfunding. It'll be going through Indiegogo, and it will start in the coming months. Now, what exactly this will fund, I'm not sure, because if this is supposed to be launching in late spring 2018, so think maybe May, maybe like a little bit upcoming towards the summer and everything, and they want to kick off a, you know, Indiegogo campaign, like what are they going to be funding with that money? Because it won't necessarily be the console, or you know, at least the first wave of consoles. Because if you're going to kick this off, let's say maybe towards the top of the year, like in January, how is that money going to go into production of the Atari box? You know what I'm saying? With them only having like 3-4 months before launch, it seems a little bit weird to me. Seems a little bit botched. But maybe this will be funding the rest of the waves of the Atari box. I'm not really sure what they are going here for this Indiegogo campaign, but I'm sure they have a reason. I'm sure they have you know, a legit reason why they would start a Indiegogo you know, campaign fund. Who knows? And yeah, that is pretty much all of the news revolving around the Atari box, at least that we got this week. It'll be very interesting to see what, you know, happens in the coming months, right? Like what will happen in the coming months? Will this actually resonate with people? Will people actually gravitate towards it just because it has retro games on the console? Like, will that be the main reason why, you know, a lot of people go out and get this console? Or will it be just because of the regular features that it has, like being a quote full PC experience for the TV, bringing you streaming applications, social browsing, music, and more? Like, will that be the appeal? Who knows, man? But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the Atari box. Are you guys liking the idea of it? Do you guys hate the idea of it? Let me know in the comments below. And make sure while you're done, check my description. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Follow me on there. Thanks for watching, and as always, I got you.